Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Welcome to all the guests. We'll get to you in a second. Tremendous news. New satellite location starting this Thursday night in Toronto. Starts, I said one thing to Mayor Planka. We made a short video. Thank you to Jamie Azulai. I guess he's the one that got the video, and he said, I'm going. He's the Nachshon of Toronto. Thursday night, 8:30. Baltimore location is back. Passaic needs chizuk. Gewaldig. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? Yitzchak? Gross. And you're good friends. Your shadchan is my shadchan. We have the same shadchan. Yossi Meller. And this is your son-in-law. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name?
Yossi Steinberg.
Yossi Steinberg. Both of you do the shir?
Wow.
Ganze Mishpucha. Where's Yossi? How come Yossi's not on the shir? You're not a chroy for him. Shalom Aleichem, I spoke to you on the way in. What's your name again? Kraus? Usher Kraus. From what's the name of the place, Nachabal? Liberty. They have a community, 160 mishpachas moved in the last few years, Breslin. They have one Rav, one community, brand new houses, the older houses all together. Upstate New York. Schmack. One day we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do MDYville. It's Chevreville. I won't be the Rav though, don't worry. The Covenant Rav Eli Shlita. You talking about this guy? This guy comes every day. No, okay. I've been keeping up with these shir for some time, Baruch Hashem. The hour-long shir is jam-packed with chizik, fun, and Torah. I would want to propose a 2-minute daily dvar alocha. The other was laughing. Mamish, Litzanis. Regretfully, a lot of individuals study the daf. We have to do Chofetz Chaim Heritage Foundation. He comes here at least once a week, once a month. Beard, Chofetz Chaim. We need to do Chumash. We need to do Navi, Yerushalmi. 1 minute. No. Dafyomi in Yiddish. That nobody came yet. A guy flew in from New York. Came to my house to ask me to do Mishnah Berurah Yomi, and flew back to America. He wanted to show how important it is to him. This guy wrote an email about it. Huh? Oh, so he's saying, listen to this.
Very good.
That's going to be his last line ever. Zok Rosh Koilel. By the way, people think he's the Rosh Koilel of MDY. He's not the Rosh Koilel, he's the Rosh Koilel. We have the Rosh Koilel of MDY is Rabbi Kramer.
Of the world.
He's of the world. He says, and what are you going to do? Daf Yomi. Very good. Well. Not just Gemara must be done every day. It says, the number of Daf Yomi learners who lack basic halachas knowledge is disheartening. Very true. To ensure that there is no daily halacha, the Yetzer Hara will put up a fierce battle. Very true. 2 minutes a day can make a big difference. Mamish true. And you have the audience listen, true. Choose a good sefer, consult your Rav, not true. And say over a daily halacha will further transform people's lives and attract more people to the shir, not true. If your time limit admit a story or two, don't listen to the Yetzer Hara. Terrible advice. Mendy Abramson, I don't know how true that name is. But Lakewood, New Jersey is very true. Anyway, Shkoyach Reb Mendy, we took it into consideration. I actually once did it. It lasted for 2 or 3 days. We don't even finish the daf. Watch. Today we have to get to the new parak. You're going to see the last minute there. We're going to fly through it. Let's see. If we Be'ezer Hashem, let's make a deal. If we finish the parak on time, I will make up a halacha stam. I'll throw it out. Dear Bali Shavuot, he's saying, don't read this next email. That's the problem. Just wanted to share some of the recent ideas of the daf. What he's saying is, listen to this. Pigul applied to many aspects of life, especially the daf itself. Today's daf is like today's carbon. The thought of doing today's daf on a different day to try to catch up messes up the cycle. It's chutz zman. Kol tov, Daniel. boys, I'm very, very proud of the next thing. I actually circled it myself. Today, a large part of our kollel that we have in this room are taking a test, one of the hardest tests, on 2,097 daf of Gemara. From beginning of Shas till here. The number. What I want you to think about is anybody in this room able to take a test on 7 daf? On the last 7 daf. And then add 90 daf to that, and then to that 2,000. 90 daf. 90 daf. You know where 90 daf was? In Avodah Zarah still. And 2,000 daf. And to get 90s, they're getting 90s on a Dirshu test. These are the hardest tests. Dirshu. So, we wish them a lot of atzlacha. They already took a massive test on Vishinantam with Tosfos last week, and now they're doing the 2097. Rabbi Isai, the Masechta Spaz, it's we're not holding there, and we shouldn't be discouraged, but you should just know that there are people in this world that sit in this base marriage on a daily basis, and we have one that he says openly, he's not a genius like the rest. He's an average person, but he sits here. You could come in here every day. He learns from 9 o'clock till 4 o'clock straight. And as he's after mincha, he takes out a pita and he eats a little hummus. South African guy, Eliyahu Jacobs. He could come here, average. What? English. He's English? English. He doesn't have a photographic memory like some of the other guys. And he takes the tests and he scores. He doesn't score the 90s, scores in the 80s, whatever it is, but he takes it and he works, he harvests. I'm telling you, I used to take the 30 daf test and I took one to 200 daf. It's murder. The questions that they ask you when I met Reb David, I wanted to ask him why do you trip them up? Like, come on, they're doing 2,000. I ran out of time. David Salomon, one day I'll ask him. David Salomon, dedicated in memory of Avi Meiri, Reb Shmuel Baruch ben Reb Chaim Tzvi Doiv. They're doing it like in, where was it? In, what's the big hall over there? Here, it says over here. Binyanei Oma, I think it is. Yeah, Binyanei Oma. So they have to go there, they have to drive there. It's all, my chavrusha never goes out of Bet Shemesh, but for this, he'll go.
For a few hours, yeah.
What? Yeah, it's hundreds of, I don't know, it's very also tiring. It's like your brain could explode. It's hours, like 7 hours or something, just non-stop. Question after question after question. Masechta Sponsor David Salomon, dedicated in memory of Avi Meiri, Reb Shmuel Baruch, Reb Chaim Tzvi Doiv. Masechta Sponsor Anonymous, L'zilin Nishmas Doidi Shlomi Yehuda, Zechron Reb Shmuel Chaim, Ashokav Elavan Kodshim Kol Chayav, Anonymous, L'zchus Refuah Shleim Nochem Tzvi Ben Yenta. Sponsored by Skyber Capital in honor of our friends Meir Kovacs, Taki and Shamshi Shlavrak with the devotion Torah study in the Shir. Joel Gedalis, Lina Nishmas, my father Jack Gedalis, Anonymous, Tzachach Baruch Nis Uva Gashmias. MDY Coffee Corner, month. Rivkin Dr. Abram Epstein, down for complete and speedy recovery for Dr. Harold Goldmeyer. While the sponsors Anonymous from London, Parnos B'Shefa. Anonymous, Brochat B'Lidai, Yehudim Yom Ben Chavim Baruch, Tzvi Ben Shoshana Leah. Anonymous, L'Shana Tovim Zugel L'Schus Eliyahu Ben Chai Dvaira, and in honor of my Chavruza Simchala, Ben Tzin Glicksman, Mazel Tov to Talia on her birthday, urgent Refuah Shlema for Chaim Yosef Ariel Ben Sari Rezel Refuah Shlema. Weekly sponsored, Anonymous, for a winter filled with growth. Shmuel Eidler, Yortzeit of Avi Meiri, Yo Yochanan Ben Aaron Yosef, Sim Yerushalmi Psachim, Lilinish Masai. Yochanan Klitnik, in honor of my son's wedding tonight, in the Tzvi, to Esti Cohn, Mazel Tov. What, you guys know him? No, I thought I heard. MDY Art, Ayal Sack, age 15. Wow. For the day. Thank you for all the hard work that you do and the awesome art. It makes everything better. Nachamal, Ayal Sack, 15 years old, says, thank you for all the hard work that you do and the awesome art. It makes everything better. How much does it cost one day of art? Anybody know? Look it up. I'll take you like 10 minutes to find it. It's like a whole monthly. Refuah Shlema Yonatan Eitem Ben Sheva Bracha. Refuah Shlema Mordechai Ben Esther. Refuah Hayeled Daniel Zev Ben Ayel Dester. Our boy said brand new Mishnah. Yeah. Oh, Phoenix, Arizona. You're on. Mark Ashkenazi. Shalom Aleichem. And what else do we have over there? Oh, there's an oilam. Wow. Oh, Arizona. Wow. It's nice, nice. Who's the other one over there? Is that LA?
No, it's two for Phoenix.
Oh, it's the same place. Same place? No. Let's ask Gershon. Same place. Shmak. Okay. Very good.
Moshe's son is up there.
Upper right corner is Einhorn. Should I tell them the mice that happened yesterday? Yesterday, Moshe's kid wakes him up because he was on Zoom watching the shir and he doesn't see his father. He says, "Where are you?" Gewaldig. Says the Heilige Mishnah, Daf Lamed Amud Beis on the bottom. Rabbi Isai, we know that in order to ruin a carbon with your mind, you have to. There's one of three thoughts. What are the three thoughts? Chutz l'zman, chutz l'makom, and what else? L'shma, by two karbanos, by a carbon pesach and a chatos. What is chutz l'zman? Here, we're trying to do. The oil is not getting it 100%. Let me ask you a question. Here, I'll throw out a question. Let's say the kohen, as he's performing the avodah, he's doing shchita, and he thinks to himself, he's going to take the kidney, which belongs in the mizbeach. He's going to put the kidney onto the mizbeach in a week from now. Is that pigul? Yes or no? No. Yes. No. Be quiet, you.
Okay.
You used up your thing. You say no. No. You're all wrong. It's yes. Of course it's pigul. Of course it's pigul. Why? Because the mizbeach is eating it. It's eating a steak. And that's what I'm saying. We got to get these things clear. That's why Ariel, too easy. Oh, there's two eatings, not too easy. Two eatings, yes, two eatings. There's the eating of a human being that eats a steak outside the allotted time. There's also the eating of the mizbeach. How many things does the mizbeach eat? Throwing the blood on the mizbeach is a type of eating. So if you think about throwing the blood on the mizbeach next week, it's also pigul. If you think about putting the kidney on the mizbeach, it's also pigul. If you do the shirayim, also. Let's see. Here we go. Some of this is my idea. I asked him to redo it. Then he's stuck in his own humor. You'll have to forgive me.
היי, זה אני. ילדתי בן, הכל בסדר ברוך השם. תתחיל לארגן את הברית.
The wife had a baby boy.
מזל טוב!
תגיד, אני מוזמנת לברית?
Am I invited to the bris?
קווטר!
This is in the Beis Hamikdash. You're doing a bit. You see that big coin on the right?
המגש, הרב, הכהן הרב, אלי סטפנסקי שליטה, מכובד מצנדי קויס.
ויהי קורא שמוי בישראל, זה לא ידיו, זה היוני.
What's his name?
Sag, hier ist schon auch raus.
כן, בטח, התגי, על מגש.
You're going to come on a tray. That's pigul. Thinking that it's going to be in a week
לתינוק
from
יש
now.
צהבת, אין ברירה אלא לסחוט את הברית.
Okay.
I'll explain. She called up, she said the baby has jaundice, and therefore the bris is going to be pushed off. She said, oh, so I don't need the meat for the bris, I'm going to eat it right now. By eating the meat right now, he was over on karas. So first he had a thought that he's going to eat this behema, this carbon, in a week from now. So that's obviously outside of the time because you're allowed to eat it for 1 day, 2 days max. He thought he's going to eat it by his kid's bris. That's already the thought of pigul. That's pigul. But eating it, you get karas. If he had the same thought that he's going to take this meat and put it on the mizbeach in a week from now, that's also pigul. Not just for the bris, putting on the mizbeach, that's also pigul.
We hadn't done shchita yet in the video. He hadn't actually done shchita.
Right, okay. It's during shchita. And this, by the way, is after zrika. He could only eat it after zrika. There are a lot of small details that are confusing people. I want to dumb it down a little bit. This guy says like this, I wanted to tell you that in your movies, in your videos, you see a heavy kohen So it's a Mefurish Mishnah in B'chayres that says that if somebody has a stomach, it's a mum. So it's kedai to tell the kohanim that they should go on diets. This when the Beis Hamikdash comes, you could do the avodah. So he didn't like the heavy kohen. This guy, I don't know. I'm not passing along. I'm just reading over an email from somebody. A lot of ha'aras. So what do we have here, Rabbi Isa? What do we have? Check this out. Just very simple. On Sunday, Yom Aleph, during the shechita, he sees during the shechita, he's thinking to himself that on a Wednesday, he's going to eat this meat. That's a thought that he had. And then on that day, on Yom Aleph, he actually takes a bite out of it. That's kares. Without the bite, it would also be a problem. It's pigul, it makes it possible. But in order to get the kares, to be over the mitzvah, the avera, mamish, with all the hidurim, you have to eat it. You eat from it after you do the zrika. Now, all this could take place in all four avodas. Here we go. All four, during the shechita, during the Kabbalah, during the halacha, during the zrika, he has the same thought. It's one of these, it could take place at one of these four times. What is he thinking? He's thinking either that he's going to eat it himself or that the Mizbeach is going to eat it. Like zrika is a type of eating of the Mizbeach, so to speak. The Mizbeach eats the blood. The Mizbeach eats the emurim. It could be just this, or it could be just that. It could be just achilo, just zrika. But that's the machshava. And where does this machshava take place? At one of the four stages of shechita, kabbalah, hilacha, zrika. Says the Mishnah. Now, what if a person thinks to himself, a kohen, as he's performing the shechita, that I am going to give this carbon to a person who doesn't have a bris milah? A 35-year-old that came out of Russia doesn't have a bris milah. He's also for him to eat this carbon. I'm going to give him this carbon to eat. Does that make the carbon possible? What's the answer, Rabbi Isai? Why such quiet? It should. Anybody else? Where's Hillel? It's not a machlokes. Oh, it's a machlokes where Hillel is. He's in Los Angeles. He'll be back for Shabbos. That's our Mishnah. That is our Mishnah. The answer is, remember, there's only three things that can make a carbon puzzle. Chutz l'zman, chutz l'makom, l'shma. Having somebody with an Ariel eating it is not one of those three things. Somebody who's tamei is not one of those things. Putting the blood on, if I think I'm going to throw the blood in the wrong place on the mizbeach, on top instead of at the bottom instead of the top, outside, inside, in the heichal, outside the heichal. These are all terrible things to do, but they don't make it possible in the machshava. Your thought of doing all these things, a list of 10 things, cannot make the animal puzzle. The only thing that makes an animal puzzle is zman makom lishma. Says the Mishnah, shchote al manas laniach es damai. Oyemur v'lemachar. One of the 10 things. If his machshava was to put the blood in a refrigerator on a shelf, that's not eating. Nobody's eating here. The refrigerator did not eat. The shelf is not eating. What's eating? To spray it, to sprinkle it on him is be'ach. Memela. Here, let's say he did this. As he's shechting, he's thinking to himself that he's going to put this blood on a shelf at a further time. That's not pigul. That's 100% aser to do, but not in your mind. You cannot think about it and make it and ruin it. Almanas laniach is dame, not lizroik, lahaniach, to put it down on a shelf, or a murav, or to take the kidney and put it in the refrigerator on a shelf, or loitzian lachutz. Remember this one. It's another one. What? Lemachar. Lemachar, tomorrow, the next day, on Wednesday. Or loitzian lachutz, or to think that I'm going to take the blood and bring it to my house. That's also, you're not allowed to take the blood out of the Beis Hamikdash. The action is also to take it out, but if I think the action, that doesn't ruin the carbon. Rabbi Yehuda Paisel and Rabbi Yehuda says that these first things in the Mishnah are problematic. If you think about them, he brings a pasuk, he holds that even these things are also. But the rest of the Mishnah, he doesn't argue on. The Chachamim Machshirim, we pass like Chacham, you can see the Ois Gimel over here, that it's only three things that passel a carbon, not thinking about putting it on a shelf. Here we go. Here's the rest of the list. if he thinks to himself, I'm going to put it on the ramp of the Mizbeach. That's not a place that you put blood. Or, he thinks to himself, I'm going to put the blood, I'm going to put it in the red area, not on the neon green area. That the neon green is the Yisoid. That's the base of the Mizbeach. Only 2 walls and a little bit had that. And that's the only place you could spray the blood, sprinkle the blood. This is the normal way you do it. You take the blood of, let's say, a shlamim, and where do you pour it? Under the red line. What goes above the red line? The chatas. So if you took the chatas blood and you put it on the bottom, or you took the shlamim blood and put it on the top, that is also to do. But if you thought about it, it's not enough to ruin the carbon. Vesanitonim bifnim. Bifnim means inside the heichal. Bachutz, he thought, instead of me doing the avoid of the Yom Kippur, inside the heichal, I'm going to do it outside. Look at this new one that Yoshi did. This is from our new artist. Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to have something beautiful. He's working on it. It's a work in progress. The colors are not 100% there yet, but here, just as a little preview of what we are trying to achieve here, this is Bachutz to Bifnim. You could do it like a drone flight in the Mizbeach, going into the heichal, and you see the kalim over there, and that's the Mizbeach Hazav. So instead of putting it on the outside Mizbeach, where this one,
They're not in the right spot.
huh? Are they not?
No.
Well, are you sure? The shulchan is on the right and the menorah is on the left. Why is it not? Oh, you're saying that the menorah should be sideways? Okay.
And further back, I think.
Everything's machlokes, so it could be going to fine. That's the kapyrus. That's the separation, the division between the kodesh and kodashim. Okay. He messed up the placement in his mind. Not he didn't, because had he done this would be a problem. But he's not doing it. He's thinking it. The kohen is thinking himself that he's going to give a person who's tamei to eat from the carbon. Shakrivu. He's going to allow somebody who's tamei to bring the emurim onto the mizbeach. Sheichlu arelim. He's going to allow somebody who doesn't have a bris milah to eat from it. Shekrivu arelim. He's going to allow somebody who doesn't have a bris milah, even though he's Jewish, and let's say even though his brothers died from it, it doesn't matter. He himself doesn't have a bris. He's not allowed to be makriv. Here's the email from Aaron Charach. Yisrael HaKohen Charach on the day of his bris, learning with his new Maggid Shir, first day that he can learn, and Uriel isn't allowed to learn. We set him up with the daf, with Rebelli, never too early. So he's mechulik on all those people that send in those emails, the pictures of their kids learning before the bris. What do you mean Ariel's not? I thought the Malach learns with the Ariel.
It's not an oral yet.
No, he's not an Ariel yet. Is she not allowed to learn with him? I don't know about that. I don't know. It's a good shaila. I think Ariel could learn. I'm mechulik on Reb Aaron. He's just saying that as a yid, as this, he's learning.
What hand is Rika done? The right?
Right. Only right.
Look at the pictures, you'll see they does with his left hand.
Let's see. Which one? Oh, here. This one, you're saying this.
That was for the Asha. The Asha can do the left hand.
No, it says Shlamim. Hold on.
There's a bigger problem. Every time he shucks, he's shucking from the wrong side of the neck.
Yeah, we know. That we know also. Because we don't want to be too gory. That's like Malika. Yeah. Well, what?
If you have a thought to throw the blood inside,
We'll see in a second. We're going to get there. Because it's the shalish things. Says the Gemara. Mishnah. Lishbar atzmois hapesach. There's a Mefurish pasuk that says, it says you're not permitted to break the bone of a carbon pesach. And he thought the kohen, as he's shechting the carbon pesach, he's thinking, I'm going to break some bones here. Just a weird maisa that happened here in Eretz Yisrael. I'll just throw it out. And they told me yesterday, they remember it. A number of years ago, they noticed in the hospital that a bunch of people were breaking their left arm. like more than usual. Usually, it's 50-50, more than usual. And they realized that these people basically, they had an insurance policy on their arms, and they would borrow money from the mafia. The mafia would say, "We'll lend you money, but you have to take an insurance policy on your arm. If you don't pay back, we're going to break it, and then you'll take money from." It was a scam, an insurance scam. And found out that all these guys, and they said, "Okay, now you don't have money to pay. No problem. Show up to here. We're going to break your arm. Which arm do you want?" They all say left because they were righties. And like this. That's how they busted the scam. I'm serious. This, Rabbi Isai here, if you know the answer.
Why are you looking at me?
Because I'm not looking at you, I'm looking at somebody next to you who sat next to me, and I said, if you know the answer, don't answer. And he by mistake, he was so upset that he did it. By mistake, he said the answer. If you know the answer, don't. There's a famous question in Pshat, in the Pasuk, that we say all the time. We say, Shoiver kol atzmoisav, achas meheina lo nishbara. He breaks all his bones, and not even one of them is broken. Shoiver kol atzmoisav. Shoiver kol. What's the Pshat in this? Anybody have Pshat? Anybody hear Pshat about this?
It breaks all the bones except one.
Yeah, that's the question. Shoiver kol atzmoisav. The answer is, it doesn't say Shoiver kol atzmoisav. It says Shoimer kol atzmoisav, achas meheina lo nishbara. Okay, great. Says the Gemara, the Mishnah, Lechol imenu no. If he thought that he's going to eat this Korban Pesach raw, not completely broiled, or tzoli, how do you say tzoli? Roasted.
הסטייק של הקורבן פסח לא מוכן בכלל, זה בשר נע וזה אסור. תראה, ככה עושים, צריך לשבור קצת העצמות.
That's also. Well, two also things in that one video. Breaking the bone and eating it raw. Another problem of mixing the kosher blood with not kosher blood that, let's say, had a machshava of pigul in it, and you mixed it with regular blood, kosher. All these rabbis say, all these thoughts, that the carbon remains kosher. Why? And the Mishnah finishes off, the only way you could think about a carbon in the wrong way is thinking chutz zman, chutz l'mokim. The first Mishnah, Zevachim, only the two, the Korban Pesach and the Korban Chatos, that you think that they're different korbanos. As the Kohen Shechting, he's thinking this is not a Korban Pesach, this is a Korban Toida. It's possible. You can't do anything about it. You don't even continue the Avodah. And a Korban Chatos that you think to yourself, this is an Oila, not a Chatos, or whatever you're thinking, Shaloi L'Shman, that ruins it.
Between Testament and Ariel to Caleb. We said that's possible.
The what? What about a Caleb?
We said by the end of the last paragraph, if you say you can give it to a Caleb,
yeah,
it's possible.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Now we said if I say I'm going to give it to Tom and to Ariel,
we're going to get there. We're going to get, good question. We're going to get to that. We're going to talk about it. This chutz l'makom thing, just because it says it, chutz l'makom, fine. You know what? We won't even go into it. Fine. Next. My time of the Rabbi Yehuda. Why does Rabbi Yehuda say, l'chayra, there's only three things that could passel a carbon with your machshava? It's chutz l'zman, chutz l'makom, l'shma. Rabbi Yehuda adds, even if you think to put it on a shelf, that's also a machshava that could ruin the animal. Because there are actually two psukim when it comes to do not leave over the meat of a carbon. There's one pasuk by Korban Pesach that says, the famous pasuk, do not leave over any of it. You have to finish the Korban Pesach to the last morsel. Because of Echad Omer, and by Korban Toida it says, lo yaniach mimenu ad boiker. Why the double psukim? If it says it by Korban Pesach, we know by all korbanos, you're not allowed to leave any of the meat over past the allotted time. And then we have the famous concept that we have many times in our Masechta. You're right, we don't need a pasuk that you shouldn't leave over physically. This pasuk is coming to tell us you shouldn't think about leaving it over. Even the thought, says Rabbi Yehuda, will passel your carbon. Ask the Gemara of Rabbi Yehuda Haikra, Lahach Yidasa. You're telling me, it's telling me, this pasuk Yaniach is telling me that you shouldn't think about it? He uses it up for something completely different. And once he uses it for something different, he doesn't have a limud to teach me that you can't think about it. Givaldik. Here, we're learning another halacha today. Carbon toida is what? What kind of category is it? Kachi kachim, kachi kalim? Kalim. Well, everybody knows. It's the lighter type. How many days do you eat a kachim kalim usually? 1 night, 2 days. No. In general, kachim kalim. But there's a pasuk that says that a korban toida is 1 day, 1 night. And the way to remember it is very simple. Like we said, how come you bring 40 breads for a korban toida? It's the same reason why the chinuch explains and other rishonim, the same reason why it's only 1 day. Because we want you to advertise the tremendous nace that you had. You were saved from a car accident. You were saved from something terrible. So you say, or like this guy that came out. I should have shown it. This hostage. The way he said, Shechiyanu, he was crying. He couldn't even say the words out of his mouth. He said in front of the whole place came. He got on his porch and he said, "Agaimo." They said the Gaimo with him. Mom is crying like a baby. When a person says Gaimo, he wants to bring his friends. And you do it quickly. You do it with a lot of bread, so you have to eat up the bread. 40. How are you going to finish 40 loaves of bread? If I give you 2 days, you might be able to finish it. You might have less friends. I want you to bring as many friends as you have, so you advertise the nace that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did to you. It's only 1 day for a toida. So it says in pasuk, "Ubesar zevach toida shlamav." A lot of words here. It should say toida shlamav. Zevach besar. What is this? Lo madnu l'toida shenachaz yom b'layla. Here we go. Very simple. Just Yoshi did a nice thing here. The words that we're learning is besar, toidas, shlamav, karbanai. From the word besar, we're going to learn that anything. Let's say you lost your korban toida, so you have to bring another korban toida, and then you find the original. There's a tag on it, and the guy brings it to you, or the korban toida has a baby, or somebody did a tmura. All those things, 1 day, 1 night. Zevach comes to teach us chatas anashim, nothing to do with the toida. The other, chatas anashim, also 1 day, 1 night. Shlamim, you bring a korban chagig on Pesach. The Nazir brings 3 types of korbanos, all 1 day, 1 night. And from the word korbanai, we learn that the breads of the korban toida also 1 day, 1 night. How do I know that if it was lost, and you had to bring a chalipin, or it had a baby, or somebody said this should be instead of it, which is this is the rice, but you can only eat the second one also, only for 1 day, 1 night? How do I know that the korban chatas in a asham, which is similar to chatos, how do you know it's only 1 day, 1 night? The Nazir, one of the 3 korbanos, is a shlamim. That's where he cooks his hair. They cut the hair, they put it in the fire on the shlamim. V'shalmi Pesach, what's a shalmi Pesach? Rabbi Isai, korban chagiga, one of the 5 korbanos that you should bring when you go up to the Beis Hamikdash on Pesach, Erev Pesach. It's not just the korban Pesach, it's also chagiga. How do you know the bread's also 1 day, 1 night? Akopanim, how does Rabbi Yehuda take this pasuk and tell me that you're not allowed to even think about hanacha? He already used the up. Says Gemara, no. There's another way to learn from that pasuk.
The Shalmei Pesach is the shlamim that you bring on Arba, not the one for Pesach.
Right. It's one of the chagigas though. No, there's 2 chagigas. There's chagigas Tesvav and Yudalit.
It's another chagiga that you bring with the korban Pesach.
Okay. Right. I actually wrote it here in my Gemara in Pesach, but today I erased it. I didn't like it. That's why I wrote it, for something like you. I didn't have why I wrote it. Givaldi. Last cycle. Last night I said it in Shir, but I didn't know what I was saying. Tamaloyma Shlomov. We said already. So the question is, how does Rabbi learn from this pasuk? Like the pasuk, the first pasuk by Korban Pesach says lo yisiru. How come over here it says lo yaniach? My lo yaniach. Because of the different language, I could also learn that there's an isser to think about putting it on the shelf. One of the first things in the Mishnah is to take the blood out of the first line in the Mishnah. Take the blood outside of the Beis Hamikdash, which Rabbi Yehuda said also passels the korban. Where did he get it from? Where's the pasuk for that? Then another question. Time of the Rabbi Yehuda Svaru. It seems like Rabbi Yehuda is talking from logic. Not that he has a real pasuk. Why? Don't you admit to me that from logic that if you put it on a shelf, it's pasuk. So too, your thought to do something like that is pasuk. You see, he was using logic, not a pasuk. In fact, you're right. Rabbi Yehuda is only using svara. He's using common sense, logic. He did not learn it from a pasuk. He asked me, how does he know that these three things are pasul a carbon? Because logically, if it actually ruins the carbon by doing it, so thinking about it would also ruin it. The question is then why not the rest of the things in the Mishnah? And then the Gemara is going to go through the whole list and show you one by one why this logic does not apply to the rest of the Mishnah. Just the interesting thing, I was talking to my chavruzi yesterday about this. So he told me that he asked Reb Goldstein here, big Rav in the neighborhood, huge Talmud Chacham. He asked him, what if somebody makes hamaitzi and benches? And then it happens a lot of times, all of a sudden, it's like a gift that never stops giving. All of a sudden, like a piece of the chal gets stuck behind your teeth. You pull it out, it's like a whole. You have to make another bracha on it because you're already benched. So he said no. So he says, what's your raya? He says, svarahu lama likra. It's a svara. Why do I need a pausing for it? Somebody just sent me a whole thing about this question where he says it's disgusting. It's not something that's edible. Oh, because it's pasha. And then I asked him. I said, okay, if it's a svara, because I was discussing. I had an argument with somebody on Shabbos, which it might push some buttons, but it's time like, if somebody has a makar, if somebody puts up a swastika on their porch, here in Eretz Yisrael, we live in a neighborhood. We have so many different people in this neighborhood. We have Hasidim, we have Yerushalmi, we have Zionists, everything. If somebody puts up a Palestinian flag on his porch, are you permitted halachically to remove it? What's the heter to remove it? It's not yours.
Black flag on Yom Ha'atzmaut.
A black could you put okay, so that's the thing. This flag bothers me. Are you allowed to bother me? The Israeli flag bothers this guy. The Palestinian, I'm just saying, in this neighborhood, people knock on doors and say, could you please remove your Israeli flag? It's bothering me. This is what we're discussing. Somebody knocked on this guy's door, and he's very upset. And I was telling you, we had a whole discussion. Why are you, if you know that you live in this neighborhood and there's a large percentage of people, so maybe you should, but anyway, halachically, am I allowed to remove the flag? Certain people, they go and they break the flag off your car, if you have it, you know? Is it gneva or not gneva? If anybody has he's doing a mitzvah.
Of course it's gneva.
That's they hold that it's not. So what's the makar? I don't know. I'm asking, what's their makar?
Not gneva. Did you take someone's thing? Did you break his thing? Do you have a right to do it?
Sometimes you have a right to break somebody's thing. Yeah.
I know you believe that.
It's not a believe, it's a halacha. The halacha is if somebody...
Not over here. He's not mazik you.
He's mazik me beria. This has a griya. Okay, I'm just... Something to think about. Am I allowed to bother you? Am I allowed to make noise in your ear?
100% gneva.
Okay, that's your thing. So go speak.
No, it's not my thing. Lamali svar, lamali kra. It's pasha.
There's thousands of people that argue with you.
If you're allowed to do it, it's gneva.
I hear. I want to know what the makar... I want to hear a makar for the opposite.
Stole this thing. What do you mean? I understand.
Sometimes, if the thing bothers you, if it bothers you and you're allowed to take it, it's not gneva. Maybe. Yeah. Fine. Next. I brought it up because it's sparu lama likra. Maybe this is sparu. Says the Gemara, nami. I said, I have a neighbor who puts a speaker outside of his house for the last 2 years, and it has crazy loud noises of birds because he believes it scares the birds away. Now, the entire day it plays. Now, it disturbs me. You're right, but am I allowed to break his speaker? It bothers me. It's causing me damage. The sound, but it's not a physical thing. Do I have a right to remove his speaker? Okay. No, it's bothering me. Every time I pass by his house, I see a swastika. I see a swastika in front of my face. I hate it. I'm not talking about Israeli flag. I don't want to go there. The Israeli flag I'm not talking about. That's their problem. I'm talking about Palestinian flag. Palestinian is not universal. Half the world, most of the world appreciates to wear it.
The difference between a shkofetin and mazikyu.
No, I'm talking about if the hashkafting bothers me.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay. Very good. Very good. I'm not arguing. I'm saying the other side. I'm trying to see this. Says Gemara, why all of a sudden the Rebbe picked these three things from logic to lahaniach, to put the imurim later, a thought of bringing the blood outside the Beis Hamikdash, but Ariel and Tomei and putting the blood on the top and the bottom and all these things he doesn't argue. So let's go through it. By niflig. Which one? Let's say the Kohen thought that he's going to break the bones of the Korban Pesach, or to eat it raw. Let's say somebody eats a whole Korban Pesach, then he breaks the bone of the Korban Pesach afterwards. It's not going to become possible retroactively. If he thought that somebody who's tamei is going to eat it or be makriv of it, let's say somebody tamei put the imurim on the mizbeach, it doesn't become possible the carbon. So therefore, if you think about it, it's also not going to make it possible. He thought that somebody without a bris is going to be makriv of it, eat it. What if somebody that doesn't have a bris ate your carbon? So retroactive, the carbon is not going to be good. So certainly, if you think about it, it's okay. And another pshat is kol kamine. Do I have the power to make somebody else eat it? How could I think that somebody without a bris is going to eat it? It's not in my hands. That's his option to decide if he wants to eat it or not. So, what about? That's what he was asking before. What's your name? From? So what about we learned that pigul could be that I'm going to say that the dog is going to eat it because it's eating. Is it in my hand to force the dog to chew it? So for that, the Chazon Ish says that when it comes to pigul, it's exeris hakasav. It doesn't have to be biyadai. But in other things, in other like that a tummy doing the avodah, that is not biyadai, so that you can. Okay. We continue with the Mishnah. One of the things in the Mishnah was that he's thinking to himself that I'm going to make a mixture of blood that's possible. One blood cannot, is min b'minoi, so it's kosher for zrika. Even though you have bad blood in there, but some of it is good, you could do zrika with it. If he thought to himself he's going to put the blood instead of on top, on the bottom, instead of on the bottom, for the shlomim, he puts the shlomim on the top. It's kosher that. So if you think that, you're not ruining the carbon. Why? Because it's actually a good zrika. But he should argue, what if he thought about this case, the case of, instead of putting it inside the heichal, he puts it outside, or instead of putting it on the outside of his mizbeach, he puts it inside the heichal. They say it's really on the second case when you're talking about chutz and some bifnim. Instead of putting it on the outside of his mizbeach, he puts it inside his mizbeach. Over there, doesn't he agree that it's possible? Because Savar Rabbi Yehuda beina makim she'em meshulash b'dam b'basar b'murim. This is a halach that we learned. In order for the pigul to be chal, you have to think that you're going to put it on a place, chutz l'makom, in a place that has the three things that you could throw the blood there. They could bring the imurim there, you could put the meat there. There's one place in the world that you cannot do two out of the three, and that is inside the heichal. Therefore, if my thought is to perform chutz l'makom, chutz l'zman inside the heichal, it doesn't work. It's not a good pigul. Why? Because I don't have those three things. I need three conditions. And since physically I can't ever put a piece of meat inside the heichal and burn it, so maybe my thought cannot go there either. Huh?
What about Rabbi Yehuda's Sfar? It says it's Sfar that if you would do it impossible, so to be a
no, it's not. What do you mean?
It says it's Sfar.
You're right. But there's a halacha. Forget it. There's a halacha that says that chutz l'zman only works if you could accomplish those three conditions. So then there's no svara. There's no logic. I need three conditions, and the three conditions don't apply in one place in the whole world, inside the heichal. You could do a bama in your backyard. You could burn meat in any place, in Bet Shemesh and in New York, anywhere, but not inside the heichal. So since I can't have those three conditions, I can't have the thought. You svara can't break the three conditions. Does he even believe in the three, that you have to have the three conditions? Rabbi said, where do you shech the carbon chatos? What side of the Beis Hamikdash of the Azara? Safaim. That everybody knows. But Pigul, everybody's getting confused there. But how you Rabbi Yehuda Davara? It says in the pasuk Davara. Kol Davara. A blemish, Kol Davara. What's Kol Davara? Ribokan chatas is shchata b'daroim. If you shech the chatas in the south side of the Azara, the chatas shenichnas dama lifnim psula. Okay, so you see that even bringing the blood inside the heichal makes it possible. And Rashi says it's talking about thinking that I'm going to bring the blood into the heichal, not bringing it, thinking it. But so now you're telling me he doesn't believe that you need three things. You just proved to me that you could think about bringing it into the heichal. A second ago you said you need three conditions. But wait a minute, he does hold you need three conditions. What's not? If you bring the blood of the chatas inside the heichal, it's not a problem. It's possible. If you do it on purpose, it's possible. And we explained the kaimelon. B'shekiper, when he did zrika inside the heichal. Says the Gemara, if you mamish physically bring the blood in, it depends. You keep her in, you literally have to do zrika. So the Gemara says, very, very good. How can you think about bringing blood into the heichal and it should be possible? Even if you physically brought the blood into the heichal, it's not possible unless you physically did a zrika. So thinking about it is not going to ruin it. Of course it's kosher. Says Gemara, okay, so we have a problem. On the one hand, we see that Rabbi Yehuda does not agree that you need three conditions. On the other hand, he said that he does. So therefore, we have to conclude the two Talmidim didn't. One said this way, one said that way. They didn't know what Rabbi Yehuda said exactly. Ask the Gemara. Does Rabbi Yehuda really say that if you shech the animal on the south side of the base of the Azara, you chayiv malchus? I'll think you chayiv malchus. If you put a balmum onto the mizbech, you're chayiv. So you see that he doesn't say it's such a bad thing. Says the Gemara, you're right. On the one hand, he says it's not a bad thing to shech in the darim. On the other hand, he says it's a terrible thing to shech in the darim. Two Talmidim, they said different things. Sponsored by Adar Global. Hold on, we're going to say halacha for 2 minutes. In a second, 1 second. Adar Global Specialist International Services Anonymous says Anonymous in the schos in support of Torah that all tests should come back 100% healthy for me and my family. Omar Rebaba. Rabbi Yisai, here's another halacha I think everybody knows. What if somebody thinks to himself that he's going to eat this carbon, as he's shechting the carbon, I'm going to eat this carbon in Bet Shemesh. I'm going to eat this in New York. Obviously, you can't eat a carbon in New York, and you can't eat a carbon in Bet Shemesh. It has to be either in Yerushalayim or in the Azara. You can never eat a carbon in Bet Shemesh. What is that called? Chutz l'makom. And a second later, he thinks to himself, I'm going to eat it also in 1 month from now. Chutz l'zman. And then after the zrik and everything, he takes a bite out of it. Does he get kares? No. Why? Because he had two machshavas combined. You can't have it has to be a pure machshava of just chutz l'zman. Let me ask you another question. What if I take one of the cases of the Mishnah? I thought to myself, I'm going to take this piece of meat and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for a month. The Mishnah said that doesn't pass a carbon. It doesn't pass a carbon, but I thought it. And then right after that thought, I thought to myself, I'm going to eat it in a month from now. A thought of pigul. Does the first thought of putting it on a shelf, which the Mishnah says doesn't ruin the carbon, does that make the second thought a second thought, or I don't consider the first thought at all? I may have a pure thought of pigul. What do you guys say? What? It's a pure one. What do you say? Ariel? I don't know, but you were the only guy in the Beis yesterday. Still been his manim here, so I don't trust you that you didn't learn the sugya. You were just doing chazara. Yivaldik. Okay, good. Masmid. Sundays he comes to Beis Medrash. That means that the whole week he learns the Beis Medrash. Just he's the onos. He has to do parnasa. But when he doesn't have his business closed on Sunday, he comes to Beis Medrash. Till mincha. Says Rabba, if he had a thought that he's going to put it on a shelf, which we said in the Mishnah is not a problem, but according to Rabbi Yehuda is very problematic. So even according to Rabbi Yehuda, if I had a thought that I'm going to put it on a shelf and it makes the carbon puzzle, I could still go ahead and think that it's pigul and I'll be over and I'll get karas. This tremendous chiddush. Rava, tell you that, and I'll prove it to you. Here's one of these cases that Rava was having a really bad day. They struck him down 3 times in a row. Here's time number 1. First, strike 1 is Teida, I'll prove it to you that what? That if you have a thought to leave it on a shelf, and then you have a second thought to eat it outside of the allotted time, that the second thought is a good thought of pigul, and you get cars for that. Teida, the pigul of zrika leklumu. Anytime a person thinks about pigul before the zrika, it's nothing, vasi zrika, but once the zrika comes, the kaval of a pigul. So Rashi explains, in other words, every single time that there's a thought of pigul, you have to leave it, you have to put it on a shelf first. What are you thinking? You're thinking that in 3 days from now you're going to eat it. And where was it for 3 days? It was on a shelf. So in other words, you had a thought to leave it on a shelf, and then you had a thought to eat it afterwards. So it's a double thought. Yet it's a real thought. It's only one. We only consider one thought. It's a great raya. Says Gemara, it's not a raya at all. Your thought is to eat it in 3 days from now, in 7 days from now, your son's bris. Okay, in order to get there, you have to leave it on a shelf. But it's the thought of eating it in a week from now. Over here, you're thinking about 2 separate things. I'm going to leave it on a shelf. And then you're saying, I'm going to eat it outside the allotted time. It's 2 different things. We learned that if you're thinking to put the blood on top of the red line instead of below the red line, if you think to throw the blood right away, this is kosher. So therefore, this animal, you thought about this thought of putting the blood in the wrong place. Since the thought is a kosher thought, so memela, what happens if it's a kosher thought? Then the thought of pigul is a perfect thought, and you get kares for it. There's no second thought that was a puzzle thought. It's a kosher thought. However, if you think lemachar, I'm going to leave the blood on a shelf, lemachar puzzle, that makes a puzzle. Over here it says mefurish that there's no kares. Once you have a thought of lahaniach, that's a bad thought, and it ruins the thought of pigul. But wait a minute, Rabbi said that the thought of lahaniach is not a bad thought, and the thought of pigul takes effect, and you get kares for it. Over here it says mefurish v'ein by kares. To yufta the Rabbi, to yufta, that would be a bam kash from Rabbi. Omer Abchizda Omer Avino Bar Silo Chishav sheyichlu tmeim lemachar chayev. If a person thought, the kohen thought himself, who's going to eat it? Somebody who's tamei. When? Tomorrow. Tomorrow is what? Tomorrow's pigul. But the person eating it is not right to eat it. Chayav. This is real pigul. Omer Rav Teida, I'll prove it to you. The basel of zrika lichazi. You're not allowed to eat the meat of a carbon before you do zrika. You didn't finish the avodah yet. Yet, even though you can't eat it then, you still have the right to ruin it with your thought. So you see, you don't have to be able to eat it in order to have a bad thought. Says the Gemara of Elohi, I'm telling you, Rava is having a bad day here. You're wrong, Rava. Chasam zarek umechazi. Over there, you're right. You can't eat it now. But if you do zrika, you could eat it. You have an ability to make it roy la'achila. Hachale mechazi klal. But over here, the guy who's tamei can never eat it as a tamei. Omer Rav Chizda. Marigala bepuin the Rav Dimi bar Chinra. Rav Dimi had a beautiful saying. Besar Pesach shaloi hutzla. The meat of a carbon Pesach, which I'm not going to show you the video again. I'll just show you the picture. This video. It wasn't ready. It wasn't done well. It wasn't roasted. Raw. The halach is like this. Somebody who's tamei, he's only chayev if he eats a carbon that's niter la'achila, niter latar. It has to be a piece of meat that somebody who's tar could eat. Roy for a tar. If he eats a piece of meat that's not. Now, the chiddush over here is that it's considered niter latar before it got cooked. Why? Because niter latar means when you go through the 4 avodas, you did Shchita, Kabbalah, Elocha, Zrika, you did Zrika. It's not cooked. It's still considered roi for a tar because you went through the process of the Davadas. Yes, you're right. Right now you can't eat it. Why? Because it's loy hutzla, it's not roasted. But it's still considered nitter latar. From the 40 breads that you do when you want to say goimel takadosh baruch Hu, you want to say toida to Hashem, you have to give 4 of them to the kohen, and you didn't do your truma to the kohen. Yet, if somebody who's tummy eats it, he's chayav. Omarov, and I'll prove it to you. The sanya shel Hashem, and the rabbis imuru kachim kalam the tuma. What? I said teida.
No, you didn't say.
Omarov teida. The sanya shel Hashem, the rabbis imuru kachim kalam the tuma. The kidneys of the kachim kalam of a toida. If he eats it, now you're not allowed to eat the kidney, that goes in the mizbeach. So you see that something that's also to eat and somebody that's tummy eats it is chayiv. They more also to eat and you're still chayiv. So to bayas, even though it's also to eat, this is korban pesach. Why? Because it's not cooked. Nevertheless, you're chayiv. Third time in a row that they strike down Rava. Over there, the imurim you could eat. Who eats it? The mizbeach eats it. You can't eat it. But over here, there's nothing you can do with this meat that wasn't roasted. The same thing basically. Imurim lechazu. V'loi says the Gemara, Hana chazu lemilsayu. You can put it on the mizbeach. V'ani lo chazu klal. Hadran aloch kol apsulim. Hadran aloch kol apsulim. Hadran aloch kol apsulim. And now we're going to say a dvar halacha for the last 2 minutes that don't exist. Have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.